Hello and welcome to This Week in Health and Wellness. Today we have the CEO of Sovereign Earth, Steve Hess, in studio to talk about water and why you shouldn't drink one of these. Hi, my name is Carly Harrell, and I'm here with Julie C. May. Welcome to This Week in Health and Wellness. Today we have the CEO of Sovereign Earth, Steve Hess, in studio to talk to us about the global water crisis and the misconception that there's plenty of it to go around, the myths of plastic water bottles and why tap is no better or more special, the dangers of BPA and why carrying around one of those nifty little stainless steel water bottles is actually going to help you lower your carbon footprint. But first, let's talk about some of this week's news.
Yes, let's do our weekly bitch.
First in news this week, doctors prescribing produce. In an effort to fight obesity, 3 health centers in Massachusetts have actually put the hand up to the pharmacy and instead are writing prescriptions for, well, produce. Families are being given $1 coupons to fit more fruits and veggies into their diets. So doctors are, they're actually tracking the progress using health indicators like body mass index and weight. More than 36 states have jumped on with, more familiar farmers market nutritional programs. But this is actually the first of its kind writing veggie prescriptions.
I think
little nuts,
this
right?
is brilliant, and I hope
Way to
more.
go, Massachusetts.
I know. I'm hoping that more states can kind of take this little prescription idea. I think it's fabulous.
You know, childhood obesity costs the U.S. more than $14 billion each year in healthcare costs, while adults cost more than $147 billion. So this is a big problem.
So our fat asses are contributing to my monthly healthcare bill. Okay, next up. Women, if you had the balls to put a big titanium rod through your nipple, more power to you. But a new study came out this week that suggests that after the 7-year mark, an abscess might actually come on. Nice. The only way to get rid of it, girls, drainage. But if you had the guts to stick that rod through your nipple, I'm sure a little drainage action won't be a problem. A study from the University of Iowa suggests that this is going to recur at 40 to 50% every time. So consider that when you want to go to a little Pierce parlor.
Ouch.
Ugh.
Over the past few years, honeybees have been dropping like flies. But why should you care? Well, because it's threatening your food supply. Bees pollinate more than $10 million worth of U.S. crops annually. The problem, known as CCD, colony collapse disorder, is showing the bees mysteriously disappearing with everything to blame, from environmental changes to pesticides and even cell phone radiation. Little nuts. A new BBC study has found that bees in more urban areas, like Paris, for example, are healthier and more productive than bees in the countryside. As it turns out, the more than 400 hives and an abundance of parks, gardens, balconies, and just a bunch of different life that is actually happening in the city, which is actually used to develop, beautify the city, and an artisanal form of homegrown honey for the hotels and restaurants is actually playing a big role here.
But can you imagine you're in Paris, you're on this romantic date, you're having a glass of wine, and then you have to start sweating bees everywhere?
Well,
that's
we
my
notice
nightmare.
it, but we don't. I don't think many realize. They just see bees as pests, and they don't realize, that it's contributing to our food supply. So,
okay, we'll give them a
scary
break.
problem. I mean, here's some of the evidence. The bees in Paris are producing up to 80 kilograms of honey compared to 30 kilograms in the countryside, while the death rate is only 3 to 5% compared to 30 to 40% in more rural areas. And unfortunately, what this is showing is that a huge decline in rural biodiversity and a shortage of crops, whereas the nectar is flowing in the cities.
And there's a documentary out right now on bees. It's a huge problem. I think people, just like Massachusetts, people should be taking notice to Paris and what they're doing. Although, please, no one on my building.
Should be taking a note with Paris, a lot in a lot more ways. I mean, they've been pesticide-free for more than a decade.
That's something to look at.
Agreed?
The French always get ripped on for their lifestyle. Haha, touche. Next story, back to boobs. I'm sure a lot of moms can relate with this story. A woman from Washington noticed that after her daughter's 8th grade birthday, she was noticing breasts. So she took her daughter to the doctor, and the doctor said, your daughter's budding. She freaked out. As a lot of moms are doing, a new study came out from the Journal of Pediatrics that found that girls are entering puberty as early as 7 years old. I myself was 12. How about you, Carly?
21.
21. Nice. So what's causing our young girls to start getting boobs and other stuff early? Experts are saying environmental toxins like BPA and phthalates could be the cause. They actually found that in animals, BPA can mimic estrogen. And I think all would agree we have enough estrogen going around. BPA, we'll be talking a lot about that in a few minutes, but it's something to watch out. Moms, you might have to be having that conversation with your girls a lot earlier, unlike some of our moms that waited till 18.
Exactly. Not only is BPA found in plastic water bottles, but also in storage containers, and a lot of people stick these in the microwave and heat up last night's leftovers or last night's pasta, and the BPA and these toxins are actually leaching into your food. So it's something to be careful of.
Okay, I think it's
time for Filthy
Friends. Okay, I'm going to read today's question. My friend is always late, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes an hour late, and she really thinks this is not affecting anyone. How do I tell her that being late is not only stressful for the people around her, but for me? This is Janet from Orlando. Carly, why don't you kind of tell us what can happen if you're always that tardy girl?
Well, Janet, boy, do we feel for you. It's always something from an email to my car's running on fumes to Starbucks messed up on my quadruple soy vanilla latte. Here's what I would tell Little Miss Tardy Pants. Not only are you making your friends and everyone around you extremely frustrated and pissy, but all those little health problems you complain about, they're not coming out of left field, honey. According to public speaker and author of Never Be Late Again, Diana DeLonzor, tardiness can cause a whole mess of health problems, including muscle tension, mood swings, headaches, intestinal problems, poor diet habits, and an increased use of alcohol, drugs, and cigarettes. Yikes. This is I never realized, I'm not going to lie, I'm late quite often, and I never realized where this might be coming from.
Well, I think it's time to do a little quiz, Carly, and find out what kind of tardy girl are we? There are 4 types. There are the rationalizer type. It's always someone else's fault. There's the absent-minded professor. You're forgetful, scattered, disorganized. You're either maybe the deadline producer type. You get off on having a jam-packed schedule. Or maybe you're just a rebel and you get a high when you defy people. I'm A, B, and C. What are you, Car?
I would say mostly C, deadline producer type.
You get off on it,
way too much on my plate, and then probably leave 5 to 10 minutes earlier, late each time. But I'm getting better before my boyfriend cuts my neck off. So I have
to say, Carly, you've gotten, since I've known you, a lot better.
Agreed.
But here are some tips, guys, to reduce your tardiness and to reduce the stress level it's causing. 1, decide you want to change. It's like AA, you gotta, first step is admitting you have a problem.
TTT.
Verbally announce you're gonna change. Tell family and friends. Of course, they're gonna go, but tell them that you're really committed. They will support you. Clock yourself and keep a journal. It doesn't take 30, you tell your friend I'll be there in 20 minutes. It takes 30. Stop lying. Fess up how long it's gonna really take you to get somewhere. Be honest with yourself. Write down how much time it takes to do a task. Do you really need a 20-minute shower? Be early. No more excuses. Plan ahead to be early. There's some text you want to send, or you want to call Grandpa and wish him a happy birthday. Fit those in those times that you're waiting. And last but not least, schedule a 15-minute cushion between appointments. We know it's not easy, girls, but these little steps might actually help you to be a little healthier.
I love the 12-step program. I didn't know it applied to tardiness. Okay, fourth step. 6.
It works. It works.
Still, it applies.
Okay. Next up is we have our water segment. We've all wondered what the bottled water claims say. Bottled at the source, from the French Alps, purified, home filter, filter that I buy at the store, filter I put in my sink. There are so many options. What do they all mean, and what implications do they have for your health? Is tap water really better? We have today in studio Steve Hess. He is the CEO of Sovereign Earth, but I have to say he's a water expert and he knows a lot about H2O. But before we bring him on, we want to play this fascinating trailer that helps promote the new movie Tapped. Let's take a look.
When you think about the finished product of a plastic bottle, you don't think about the process.
Most of the public does not know that their plastic materials are being made in petrochemical plants.
People think when they're drinking bottled water that they're getting a healthy product. They're not conditioned to think, well, maybe there's something in the plastic.
We found that one person at the FDA was responsible for overseeing all of the regulation of bottled water in the country.
Are you that one person?
I do spend some of my time on bottled water, but I have other responsibilities as well.
We don't consider tap water to be an enemy. We don't.
Can people typically perceive a difference in taste?
I can tell the difference in many bottled waters, just as I can tell the difference between tap water and other beverages.
You can.
Absolutely.
You know, you're under oath, but you
absolutely.
We'll give you.
I say that with.
We'll give your tongue an exemption.
Well, first of all, we should realize that a lot of bottled water is tap water.
What do you mean? I thought that they came from like the mountains and the streams and the springs of Maine.
That's what they would have us believe.
Bottled water is the greatest advertising and marketing trick of all time.
We're here with Steve Hess, CEO of Sovereign Earth, and I think the first thing we want to touch on is you're a pretty young CEO. How did this all come about, and when did you notice that this was an issue that you needed to solve?
This started my freshman year of college. I saw that students are relying on bottled water, and I sort of came into college as sort of a semi-environmentalist, sort of light green, and I saw, there was an opportunity for kids to move over to something that was more sustainable, and so we introduced this product line. My father has been involved in water filtration technology for 15 years, and so we decided to develop something that was good for them, good for students, and good for everyone.
Wow.
He's keeping my son. Sorry.
Yeah.
I feel really old. Okay, Steve, I'm going to start shooting some questions at you because we are all dying to know. So on this table, we have a bunch of bottled water. How much cleaner is bottled water over than tap water? Is this really a big marketing scam, this whole bottled water thing?
Definitely is a huge marketing opportunity. Bottled water is sold at, I think, over 1,000 times. The price tag is 1,000 times greater than tap water. But ultimately, the differences are minimal. The regulations, the FDA regulations on bottled water are actually less than the EPA regulations on tap water. And you'll find that consistent across the board in all research studies. So.
Huh.
I have a fact here. 70% of bottled water never crosses state lines, which makes it exempt from FDA oversight. And on the other hand, municipal water, aka tap water, falls under the review of the Environmental Protection Agency. So it's actually more regularly inspected for bacteria and toxins than bottled water.
Nice.
It's interesting. So
exactly.
Bottled at the source, what does that mean?
So bottled at the source is sort of a marketing phrase that's been used by almost every bottled water company in their history, in their short history. But ultimately, it's conveying this, trying to convey this sense that bottling at the source where they're pumping it makes it pure. So it's ultimately the real questions we need to look into is what are those sources? And for the majority of bottled water, it's municipal tap water. That's where they're sourcing their water.
So there's no dude on some mountaintop bottling this for me?
Taking it from the great alpine peaks and the great depths of the earth?
No.
Liars.
And unfortunately, the few that do pump from spring water sources, they're destroying those local ecosystems.
Nice.
So it's, even the ones that are from a mountain spring actually have their own detrimental effects, their own skeletons in the closet, so to speak.
So all these bottles, millions and millions, what impact is it having on our environment?
Well, we're looking at just the production costs alone are over 1.5 million gallons of oil every year. It's a very toxic environment, the production facilities, but ultimately the things that have really come up in the popular media have been plastics going into our landfills, plastics going into our oceans, never really biodegrading, just breaking into smaller and smaller pieces and ending up in our fish, which biomagnify and actually end up in our own food sources. Pretty wild.
You know, I think that it's the amount of plastics that there are out there too, is that people just consider they're being recycled. But you can't recycle all of them, and that's why they're floating into the oceans and into our groundwater and the landfills. So now let's talk about what the difference is between purified and filter. I mean, I have a Brita in my home. What does that mean?
So purification and filtration can often be part of the same process, but purification generally just refers to a chemical or UV treatment to water where you're going to kill the parasites, so microbiological and virus contaminants. Filtration is actually the removal of those. So if you have a purifier and a filtration system, it'll essentially kill those microbiological contaminants and then remove them from the water supply. So say your Brita is a filter. So that's just acting on reducing the amount of contaminants that are in the water. So the best filter is going to be one that has the greatest reduction per contaminant.
So what if you have those like filters and you don't recycle them enough or you don't replace them enough? Are you harming yourself?
It depends on the, I suppose, filter manufacturer. Some products, the efficacy of the filter never stops. With other products, like carbon filters, for instance, you'll see contaminants will start to come through. So when they say 3 months, they really mean 3 months, and then it will start to come through. But with municipally treated water, you only get chemicals and stuff. You won't get like microbiological, which could kill you, obviously.
Nice. Yeah. So the water cooler, people at work are sitting around the water cooler gossiping about last night's American Idol, and they're drinking all that water. Is that like a big jug of BPA-ness?
Yes. Historically, all the big 5-gallon containers, those all are made of hard plastic, and BPA is actually a plastic hardener. So
is it sitting longer because it's in that shell all week?
Oh yeah, it sits in there, and I know that what we've learned is that BPA doesn't leach into the water until it's over 80 degrees. But if you think if you think of production and they're trucking it to a distribution facility, which aren't refrigerated, otherwise that would eliminate, cents on the dollar, which is a huge profit margin for the bottled water industry.
When you're buying those big cartons at the grocery store, they're typically in the dry foods or just out in the section. They're not in the fridge, and they're sitting at room temperature, which is often when that happens. So
when that dude is hauling it off the truck and he gets a little sweaty and hot and he's hauling it close to his hot body, it's heating up, and then I take it home. Nice.
Yeah, so it's had quite a bit of exposure before you even receive it.
Huh.
We're having a huge water crisis right now globally, and how in the U.S., what should we most be concerned with?
In the U.S., we should be concerned with the fact that a lot of our water supplies are being recycled, and so we're getting, when people are, you've heard, I'm sure, of people dropping their, extra pills they've gotten from the doctor into their toilet or in their sink. That's ending up in the water supply, and so we're getting trace amounts of pharmaceuticals in the water. So as our water supply inevitably shrinks, we'll start to use the same water over and over again. So we need to watch our tap water.
Oh my God, all that Xanax.
Exactly.
Sorry, that's all I could think of.
It's like the toxic soup of depressants and antidepressants, everything mixing together. It's not just one drug, it's multitudes.
Okay, we have the Sovereign Earth. We've asked you to bring it because we are just obsessed with this product.
Sovereign Earth.
Can you tell us what it does?
Yeah, so this is a portable water filtration bottle. We use food grade stainless steel.
So I just pour some water in here.
Yes. And
that's from the tap. I think. I don't know, I'm lying.
And this is all medical grade BPA free plastic. So you just drop the filter in, and as you drink through the straw, using sort of the suction you generate with your mouth, it'll draw the water through the filter and clean it as you drink.
Do you need to wait for it to filter, or it just comes through?
It's all instant filtration, and it's no chemicals, it's all mechanical. So that's one of the huge advantages.
Talk about the tipping the bottle. You were telling me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you can't really tip the bottle, right?
Exactly, yeah. When you drink out of it, because there's sort of a straw on the end of it, just like you would drink out of, say, you had a drink at the
Slurpee.
I don't know, a Slurpee, exactly. You just draw through the straw because the filter's down here. It's going to draw everything at the bottom. So if you raise it, you'll get an air pocket up top. So this system's meant to be drunk like this. So if you're driving, it makes sense. You're not lifting your head and trying to watch the road.
So how do we get this to countries that don't have clean drinking water? I mean, this is what they need.
Exactly. We actually have started a World Water Relief Project. It's sort of our internal program. and we use proceeds from every sale, and we're distributing technology in relief situations. And then sort of for long-term clean water, we do wells. So, you know, when Haiti hit, we donated product. When there was the earthquake in Chile, we donated product because they need water now. So there's no time just to dig a well.
Now, where can you get this?
You can get this at sovereignearth.com. We also have a select amount of dealers online, as well as some select Patagonia stores carry the product.
Okay, and how much do they run?
They run $39.95, and that's 100
And remember,
gallons.
these are going to last you forever, so.
And the price will probably go down over time as you're able to sell more. So people, go out there and get yourself some Sovereign Earth. It's helping everybody, right?
You can also check out how your tap water scores. Check out the Environmental Working Group's National Tap Water Database. It's a good fact there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Steve,
Thank you.
for doing the drive up from San Diego to talk to us today about bottled water. I hope people have a little bit of insight today on the differences and take better steps to have cleaner drinking water at home.
So aside from Sovereign Earth, we want to talk about some of your other simple alternatives to plastic water bottles. First up, Core water bottles. I actually have my nifty little Core here today. These BPA-free water hydration vessels, they're uber chic, good to the environment. They come in 4 pretty colors. You can get them at corewater.com. They'll cost you about $29.95, but 1% of each sale goes to different planetary organizations. Another one is Clean Canteen. Stainless steel BPA-free water bottles. These are a bit more affordable than Core water bottles. They come in a collection of sippy cups, insulated water bottles, wine crafts, and coffee mugs. They range from $14.95 to $32.95. And then SIG, which is actually a Swiss company, BPA-free, and how they're a little different from the typical bottles. As you can see there, they offer a bunch of different designs and colors depending on your style. Those run in the $24.99 range. So thank you for coming and watching us on This Week in Health and Wellness, and please join us next week. Thank you.